Hello students, welcome to the lecture on presenting insights and findings. And after the lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Define the meaning of report, discuss the types of report, explain the format of report, define the presentation skills, understand the tools and techniques of effective presentation, discuss the types and styles of presentation, describe the bibliography. Let's start with a brief introduction to presenting insights and findings. The word report has originated from the French word reporter and report and Latin re, back, plus porter, to carry. All these words mean give an account. Report thus means to give people information about something that you have heard, seen, done, etc. Report writing is an essential skill for professionals in almost every field: accountants, teachers, graphic designers, information scientists. A report aims to inform as clearly and succinctly as possible. It should be easy to read and professional in its presentation. Exactly what you include in your report and how you present it will vary according to your discipline and the specific purpose of the report. Let's discuss about the meaning of report. A report can be defined as a testimonial or an account of some happening. It is purely based on observation and analysis. A report gives an explanation of any circumstance. An effective report can be written going through the following steps. To determine the objective of the report, that is, you identify the problem, collect the required material or facts for the report, study and examine the facts that are gathered, plan the facts for the report, prepare an outline for the report, that is, you draft the report, edit the drafted report, distribute the draft report to the advisory team, and ask for feedback and recommendations. The essentials of good and effective report writings are: you should know your objective, that is, be focused, analyze the niche audience, that is, make an analysis of the target audience, the purpose for which audience requires the report, kind of data audience is looking for in the report, the implications of report reading, etc. Decide the length of the report, disclose correct and true information in a report, discuss all the sides of the problem reasonably and impartially, include all relevant facts in a report, concentrate on the report structure and matter, pre-decide the report writing style, use vivid structures of sentences. The report should be neatly presented and should be carefully documented. Highlight and recap the main message in a report. Encourage feedback on the report from the critics. The feedback, if negative, might be useful if properly supported with reasons by the critics. The report can be modified based on such feedbacks. Use graphs, pie charts, etc. to show the numerical data records over years. Decide on the margins on a report. Attempt to generate readers' interest by making appropriate paragraphs, giving bold headings for each paragraph, using bullets wherever required, etc.
The cover page is usually the first page of a technical report. On the cover page, you can see the classification on the top left corner, which could be normal, confidential, top secret, classified, based on the type of the information the report holds. Then on the top right corner comes the report number. You can put any random alphanumeric number with at least 5 digits, just so it looks good. Next, you have the name of the organization along with the place it is situated in, followed by the title of the report and the date, which comes at the bottom of the page. And make sure you align all these elements in the center. Next comes the title page. The title page is a little more descriptive than the cover page and has names and designations of person for whom you are making the report, followed by the name and designation of the person making the report and the one who approves the report. Except the last element, everything on the title page will be center aligned. Next up is the preface. The preface is written by the author of the report. It contains his views and opinions about the subject of the report. The preface is followed by acknowledgements. This section has 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph is an overall acknowledgement note to whoever has helped in the development of the report, that is, the general public. The second paragraph is more of a courtesy note to the high authority of the organization for which you are writing the report. The third paragraph is a real thanking note to the people who have directly helped you develop and compile the report. The fourth para is dedicated to moral and emotional support. And lastly, in the fifth paragraph, you acknowledge the secretary without whose support the report wouldn't have been completed. Next, we have the list of tables and figures, which enlists all the tables and figures like pie charts, bar graphs, etc., along with the page number they appear at. After this comes the abstract. It states in brief the idea behind the report, what it aims at, and how will it be beneficial for the organization. Following this is the table of contents. It enlists all the elements in the report in a sequential order along with their page numbers. Observe that the elements before the instruction are written in italics and numbered using lower Roman numerals. The rest of the elements follow the decimal numbering system for serialization depending on their hierarchy, and the page numbers are written using Arabic numerals, which is the usual number system that we follow in everyday life. Note that the bibliography, glossary, appendix, and index are also in italics. This brings us to the first prime element of our discussion, the introduction. The introduction has 7 elements. The first element is the note of authorization. It contains the title of the report, the name and the designation of the personnel who has authorized you to write the report, and the date of authorization. Second comes the historical background. Here we need to answer questions such as, when did the problem arise? What exactly is the problem? How is it affecting the organization? And what actions has been undertaken until now? Another thing to note is that here you should not mention as to why the problem arose. The third element is the objective, and it states the aim of the report and suggests a plausible solution for the problem. Fourth comes the scope. The scope comprises of the areas of classification which have been taken into consideration while writing the report. These can be identified such as age groups, to number of family members, geographic regions, or financial status, etc. Then comes the limitations. Here simply mention the areas of classification, stating nothing else were considered except them due to time and financial crisis. On the 6th, we have methodology. Here we need to mention the procedure by which the survey was conducted. It could be polls, questionnaires, or personal interviews, whatever. Do mention the exact number or percentage of the people surveyed and the criteria for selecting these candidates. Also, don't forget to refer to the appendix, as it will contain a detailed description of the methods undertaken for the survey. The 7th and the last element of the report is the preview. It contains one-line description of each section apart from the introduction. The second element, the discussion, comprises of the major chunk of the report. It evaluates and justifies all the collected data. Here the author tries to figure out the possible explanations for the trends observed in the data collected. The headings of the discussion can be identified from the table provided by identifying the row or the column that sums up to 100 or which is closest to 100. Each topic of discussion has 3 points. First, the justification for the highest percentile on a category. Second, the explanation for the lowest percentage. And third, a short explanation for the intermediate trends. Make sure you mention the percentages wherever you justify them. Discussion topics also have figures which represent the data using pie charts, bar graphs, block diagrams, and other illustrations. Make sure you mention a reference note for figures wherever you refer them in your explanation. The third element is the conclusion. Here, the first para contains an overall conclusion of the report, followed by the conclusions for each topics of discussion in separate paragraphs. You must remember two things while writing conclusions. It must not contain any new reasons besides the one mentioned in discussion. You must not specify the figures again in conclusion. After this, we have recommendations, which is an optional element and contains suggestions that may help solve the problem observed in the report. Here again, you have an overall recommendation followed by the recommendations for each topic of discussion. Lastly, we have bibliography that lists all resources, that is, books, periodicals, articles, etc., from which the data had been extracted in making the report. Okay, finally, we have glossary, which contains the definitions of all the jargon used in alphabetical order. Next, we have appendix, which has the details of the methods used during the survey, like questionnaire, interview questions, polls, etc. And finally, the index, which contains the detailed list of the specific information available in the report and helps us indicate a topic, a subtopic, or any other important aspects of the contents.
The features or the characteristics of a report. A good report should have the following characteristics. It should be complete and a compact document. Report is a complete and compact written document giving updated information about a specific problem. Systematic presentation of facts. Report is a systematic presentation of facts, figures, conclusions, and recommendations. Report writers closely study the problem under investigation and prepare a report after analyzing all relevant information regarding the problem. Prepared in writing. Reports are usually in writing. Writing reports are useful for reference purpose. It serves as complete, compact, and self-explanatory document over a long period. It provides information and guidance. Report is a valuable document which gives information and guidance to the management while framing future policies. It also facilitates planning and decision making. Self-explanatory document. Report is a comprehensive document and it covers all aspects of the subject matter of study. It is a self-explanatory and a complete document by itself. It acts as a tool of internal communication. Report is an effective tool of communication between the top executives and the subordinate staff working in an organization. It provides feedback to employees and to executives for proper decision making. Reports are generally submitted to the higher authorities. It also acts as a permanent record. A report serves as a permanent record relating to certain business matters. It is useful for future reference and guidance. It's time-consuming and costly activity. Report writing is a time-consuming, lengthy and costly activity as it involves the collection of facts, the drawing conclusion and making recommendations. Did you know the history of report writing starts from 27 BC from Caesar's time? Let's move on and talk about the types of report. Business report. A business report is a standard form of business communication that combines qualitative and quantitative information in a logical format, serving as a critical corporate documentation. Business report, it assesses business performance, it provides a quick status check and monitor progress towards the strategic goals of the business. It summarizes key business indicators by presenting them in a visually intuitive chart and graphs, easy to read grids and spreadsheets, pixel perfect documents and interactive dashboards and scorecards. Use statistics such as key performance indicators and financial ratios to present key business metrics. Access data online or offline through various means of communication by web, email, mobile device, desktop application, Microsoft Office application, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, file server or printer. The purpose of a business report. A business report conveys information to assist in business decision making. The business report is the medium in which to present this information. In generating a business report, the following steps should be considered. You should determine the scope or the purpose of the report. Also consider the target audience or the readers. Gather and organize the supporting information or the research. Analyze and weigh the supporting information. You determine the solution, the findings and or the recommendations, and also determine the report format. Determine the scope of the report. A frequent mistake of many business reports is that the author makes the scope or the purpose of a report too general or vague. As most business reports are required to support specific organizational objectives, strategies and decision making, it is critical that a chain of continuity in argument and evidence can be demonstrated between the purpose of the report, the research and ultimately the solutions, findings or the recommendations. Consider the target audience. Audiences are basically of three kinds. Primary audience. Those are the people who have to make decisions on the basis of the business report. The secondary audience are the people who are affected by the actions the primary audiences would take in response to the position of the business report. And the last one is immediate audience. Those are the people who are responsible for examining the business report, weighing its viability and distributing the report to a broader audience. Analyze and weight the supporting information. The purpose of the analysis is to make reasoned sense of the information that has been gathered. The findings of the analysis needs to be balanced, justifiable, and where possible, quantifiable. The process of business planning and market analysis usually starts with the entrepreneur determining what questions need to be answered in order to make the better decisions. Determine the solution, findings, and or recommendations. Business research and analysis provide entrepreneurs and managers with the necessary information and market context to support effective business decision making to achieve these objectives. When an entrepreneur clearly understands their target market, they are able to mold the business so it directly engages with this sector of the market and subsequently achieves considerable commercial success. Determining the report format. A business report will have the following 5 steps. Provide identifying information, define the project or the problem, the purpose of the report, give the background, give the supporting data, state your conclusions and recommendation. The elements of effective business report writing. In presenting information, an effective business report should be accurate and objective. Accurate. Accuracy in a business report includes accuracy of information and accuracy of writing. Since the information in a business report is used to make decisions, inaccurate information can lead to inaccurate decisions. Therefore, make sure the facts are right. Objective. We can achieve objectivity through the following technique. Report all pertinent information. Present both positive and negative aspects. Use bias-free language. Avoid emotional terms such as guaranteed, tremendous, etc. Use impersonal style. Avoid interjecting a personal note which might weaken a report by making it seem merely a statement of one person's opinion and belief. And use of graphics in business reports. Graphics for comparisons or projections are extremely effective. Academic report. Successful report writing, just like any other academic writing assignment, requires professionalism, in-depth knowledge of the subject discussed, concentration, exceptional writing skills. The format of report. A report should generally include the following sections: the letter of transmittal, the title page, table of contents, list of abbreviations and or the glossary, executive summary, abstract, introduction body, conclusions, recommendations, bibliography, appendices. The letter of transmittal. This is the letter to the person who commissioned the report, in which you effectively hand over your work to that person. It includes a salutation, the purpose of the letter, the main findings of the report, and any important considerations, an acknowledgement of any significant help, an expression of pleasure or gratitude. The title page. This must contain the report title, which clearly states the purpose of the report, the full details of the person or the persons that are involved for whom the report was prepared, full details of the persons who prepared the report, the date of the presentation of the report. The table of contents. This is a list of the headings and the appendices of the report. Depending on the complexity and the length of the report, you could list tables, figures and appendices separately. Abbreviations or glossary. If necessary, provide an alphabetical list of the abbreviations used in the report, especially if they may not be familiar to all the readers of the report. Acknowledgements, if appropriate. This is a short paragraph thanking any person or organization which gave help in collecting data or preparing the report. Abstract, summary or executive summary. An abstract is quite different from an introduction. It is a summary of the report in which you include one sentence or so for every main section of your report. Introduction. You have to give enough background information to provide a context for the report. You should state the purpose of the report, clarify the key terms, and indicate the scope of the report. That is what the report will cover. Body. The content of the body depends on the purpose of the report and whether it is a report of primary or secondary research. Conclusion. Sum up the main points of the report. Bibliography, using references for more information. Appendices. An appendix contains material which is too detailed, technical or complex to include in the body of the report. Did you know a presentation program such as Microsoft PowerPoint, Apple Keynote, OpenOffice.org, Impress is often used to generate the presentation content? Let's now discuss about the types of presentation. There are many types of presentations, but most presentation contests use only these four: demonstrations, illustrated talks, public speeches, and impromptu speeches. Demonstrations. A demonstration puts words into action. With this type of presentation, you will show how to do something at the same time you tell how to do it. There is a finished product at the end. Illustrated talks. An illustrated talk is a way to share information with the audience. The topic should be educational in nature, but it can be very basic. No finished product is necessary, but visual aids must be used to help explain what is being said. Public speeches. A public speech is just talking. No visual aids or props can be used. A speech can be informative or persuasive with the purpose to stimulate thought or present a point of view. Speeches should not simply entertain. They need to persuade the audience to agree with you, educate the audience, or get an emotional reaction from the audience. Impromptu speeches. As the name applies, impromptu speeches requires the presenter to compose and deliver a speech with little previous preparation. Like public speeches, no visual aids are used unless the speaker is given an object to talk about. Let's explore the style of presentation. The speaker should structure and design the delivery to be effective with the goal that the audience will ultimately accept his or her ideas. The sequence and timing of each part in a 30-minute presentation should be: introduction, that will be 3 minutes, main body 15 minutes, conclusion 2 minutes, question answer session 10 minutes. Introduction. The introduction indicates the main idea of the presentation. It does only that without giving details of what is to follow. This helps the audience know the subject and focus of the presentation. The main body. The main part of the presentation is devoted to informing the audience about the advantages of the proposal. This section would include findings of a survey and analysis of the data. Conclusion. The conclusion summarizes the speaker's main arguments and connects them to the objectives stated in the introduction and the larger picture. The question and answer session. This is an important opportunity for audience interaction. The speaker should encourage questions and answer each question seriously and with honesty. Let's now talk about the bibliography. A bibliography is a list of books, articles, and other sources you use when researching a topic and writing a paper. The bibliography appears at the end of the paper. The main objective of the bibliography is to proper organize the information of the required and available materials, which enables the students, the readers, researchers, teachers to get a methodical access to the source of the content of the book in question. Bibliography must include an introduction. This must set out the general context of the subject and define the specific subject of the internship within this framework, along with the objectives to be achieved. The body of the study. Keeping to the plan outlined in the introduction, the various works should be presented and the specific characteristics of each one described. Do not hesitate to discuss the relevance of a publication with regard to your personal subject. A conclusion. The conclusion should be considered as the gateway to the actual research work of the internship. It should recapitulate the main points of the literature study on the subject, which will lead to the development of working plan new theories. Enumerative bibliography. An enumerative bibliography is a systematic list of books and other works such as journal articles. Bibliographies range from works cited lists at the end of the books and articles to complete independent publications. Descriptive bibliography. Scholars to this day treat Bowers' scholarly guide as authoritative. In the classic text, Bowers describes the basic function of bibliography as sufficient data so that a reader may identify the book described, understand the printing, and recognize the precise contents. Analytical bibliography. This branch of the bibliographic discipline examines the material features of a textual artifact such as type, ink, paper, imposition, format, impressions, and states of a book to essentially recreate the conditions of its production. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Report writing is an essential skill for professionals in almost every field: accountants, teachers, graphic designers, information scientists, etc. Report is a self-explanatory statement of facts relating to specific subject and serves the purpose of providing information for decision-making and follow-up actions. The business report is the medium in which to present this information. Some reports might present the actual solution to solve a business problem. Other reports might record past business information that is used towards future business planning. Report writing is the result of researchers' analysis and investigations which is presented in a written format. Analytical bibliography is the branch of the bibliographic discipline which examines the material features of a textual artifact such as type, ink, paper, imposition, format, impressions and states of a book to essentially recreate the conditions of its production.